Welcome everyone, Dan Hellweg here, real estate agent at properties here in Chicago, and we're doing our Monday market update. So if you are living in a hole or you just don't really care, you probably didn't realize that there's been another increase to the Fed from the Feds. Not a good thing, obviously, for buyers especially, but it's also not a good thing for sellers, and we'll go into that a little bit more in a moment. But yeah, with that increase, of course, comes a little bit more of a struggle, a little bit more of a challenge when obtaining a loan. Go ahead and find any mortgage calculator. And if you are buying, make sure you take that number of what you are looking to spend, plug in the rate that you can get or the rate you have, and then everything else that comes along with that. So you're going to make sure that you're including whatever that interest rate is, but then you're going to be also including your taxes, insurance. If you're moving into a condo, what the HOA fee looks like, you start to realize that it gets a little bit out of control, and that's okay because I've got solutions for that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Sellers, though, so maybe you have something on the market and your agent has run all the comps, has given you all the position, everything, right? You're excited, you feel good, you're coming in at this number. And now all of a sudden, you are not selling. The solution will not be to lower the price. I can assure you that. Lowering the price will do absolutely nothing. Well, maybe it will do something, but it depends on, again, your position, depends where you're at in the market, depends a lot of factors. So let's put a little asterisk on that. It could do something. It will do something because it's going to obviously generate more interest, more excitement. Um, but again, it's not so much the number, it's the marketing of your place that's going to determine how it gets under contract. So let's back up a little bit, right? We all know COVID's happened, right? It's maybe still here a little bit, whatever. Let's not get into the details. But COVID occurred, and that made a lot of people make changes. A lot of things beyond our daily typical change of real estate. Most of the time with real estate, you're going to have things from people downsizing, upsizing. They need to move because new jobs. They're going to have families. Maybe the kids have moved out from college. Maybe there's a change. Maybe a divorce. There's going to be fortunate and unfortunate events in everyone's lives that make us do things with real estate. Real estate isn't just about like, well, in some cases it is. It's not just about like, I want to live there, so I'm going to buy that place. Actually, for a lot of us, it is. People like to, try new places, like to try different things, whatever. I can come up with 10,000 things why people buy, 10,000 reasons why people sell, but that's a whole, we're not going to get into that. It'll take hours. So that being said, COVID, a lot of things happened. A lot of compressed demand, inventory, supply. A lot of things just kind of smashed together all at once. It was moving fast, but here's the thing: people had the ability to get loans, so they didn't understand that a home that was costing $300,000, what that meant because they had an interest rate of 2.62. Okay, and prices were a little bit lower. Now prices are a little bit higher. Not only do you have the higher price, you have a higher interest rate. The price really won't matter much. Go ahead and calculate different numbers. That's why so many people, when they had really low rates, were still coming in over. Because if you went up by, 5, 10, 15, $25,000 over and you had a little bit extra cash to ensure that the appraisal was still going to be able to something you can get through, what is $50 a month, $100 a month for some people, right? Depends who you are. So that's not the point. The point is things happened really smashed in time, right? Within about 2 years, you had probably as much market movement that you typically have in maybe 4 or 5 years. So remember that. A lot of people made decisions. A lot of people have moved. So if you're still looking to buy and you're still on the search, nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit more of a normal market. Now we do have something that's not making it so normal. It's that interest rate. Crunch those numbers, and you're going to see that if you could have had a 4.5% or a 5% rate, and now you have a 6.5 to 7% rate, depending on how much money you have and how much or what the cost of the home is and other conditions, that could be several $100s a month. That's not just one time. That's every month you have a mortgage. So what can you do about that? A lot of things you can do. One, look into adjustable rate mortgage. A lot of times those rates are a little bit lower now. Of course, if it's a 5 year or whatever the terms are, do watch what those are doing, see how that's trending, be ready for that. I don't have a crystal ball, I wish I did, but I don't. Another thing you could do is be ready to refinance. So if you go into a 30-year conventional, refinance at some point. Watch those rates. You will have to pay, you're essentially replacing a loan with another. So you have closing costs depending on whomever you're using. So I don't want to get into that. And there's still always a chance the rate can go up. But here's the thing about if you buy now. So let's just say it's at 6%. Okay. Either the rate's going to go higher and you're going to refinance at some point and you're going to get down to or you're going to keep your rate. Sorry, let me restate that. You have your rate today, right? In the future, you are going to, I think I screwed up the lighting here. There we go. you will refinance if that rate goes down in a few years. So you're going to have that lower rate. You're going to be locked in on a better mortgage payment. Great. Now, if the rate goes up from where it's at today, say in a few years, you got the lower rate. You hedged your bet essentially, right? So think of it from that perspective. If there's a home you really like, don't get too hung up on that, but do keep your eye on it. Get ready to make potential change in the future. So adjustable rate mortgage is one option. Another option is future refinancing and watching the market. And another one that not many people do, and it's definitely harder. I can't just do this one anytime, and most people can't. 15-year mortgage. Sometimes if you buy that or you go with a package that has the accelerated mortgage, a couple pros to that. Sometimes a lower rate might not always be super significant, but the nice thing about that is you're going to pay that mortgage off in 15 years. If you have the means to be a little more aggressive, there's a few things you might want to do then. Instead of buying that $900,000 home on a 15-year plan or whatever, if you're able to, maybe you're going to scale down a little bit. So a couple things to get creative. There's more even than that. There's a variety of things. Talk to your lender. If you're working with me, obviously, as your agent, you get really close to your lenders because you need to understand who you're working with, what that's going to look like, and how numbers are going to affect you. It's different things that a lot of them offer, from rate locks to different caps, things like that. So then you don't have to worry so much. You don't have to rush that search. You don't have to make a decision immediately, but that's that. Sellers, I want you to be aware of this. So as I said, it doesn't really matter what that price looks like. It does, of course, 100% it does. But what you need to remember is you might have bought this in 15, 2010, 1995. You are paying a whole different type of mortgage right now. So when you're listing that place, say $400,000, have your agent run a what if scenario. What if we get somebody at that offer? What does that look like? What is that payer or that buyer paying? Because you'd be surprised sometimes at what the numbers are. And your taxes have increased. If you're in a condo, your HOA may have increased. Your home insurance may have increased. Everything increases. Cost of living has gone up. Factor those numbers. Well, would you buy the same place you're in with those numbers? And be honest with yourself. That's a hard thing to do. But if you'd say yes, I would, great. If you're like, whoa, I don't know, from what I know about this neighborhood and what I've seen, your agent's going to break down other things. They're going to break down the comps, when things were bought and sold, how much they bought and sold for. They can look to see what interest rates people were getting. Did it hit a number in your neighborhood? Once it hit 5%, did it slow down? That's a good way. That's a good tell. There's a lot of things you can get from that. Have the information. Give it a review. Understand, who's buying, why they're buying, when they're buying, so you can be positioned. Be prepared. This isn't the days where you just throw garbage on the market. I'm sorry, there was some garbage out there, but these aren't the times anymore. You have to be super well positioned. You have to be very well informed. You have to not know what is going on right now, but you have to know what will happen next. That goes as well for either side, buying or selling. So I'm not an economics major, but I've taken many economics class because back in the day of college when I was going for my business degree, and I'm very fortunate. I paid a little bit more attention in my my econ classes than some others did. We're starting to really see what happens here. We're starting to watch. We're not just starting, but it's real now. There is a chance that this rate can still go higher. I don't know what that looks like. I like to be optimistic. I just met with one of my lenders recently. The conversation we had was, what do you think 2023 looks like? I like to believe the rate will come down a little bit. It doesn't have to come down a ton. It just needs to come down a little bit. You could do different things then. You could do rate buy downs then from that, right? You could be prepared to potentially refinance. You can hopefully back out a little bit more money from your credits to maybe just kind of hold as your own reserve to hedge yourself against, what the next year or two looks like for those higher payments that you are already prepared to pay. You always want to also think about what that exit looks like, right? So if you're buying at a higher number, if you're buying at a higher rate, you're buying all these things, you may need to sell at some point. It could be sooner than later. Will you be prepared for that? And what does that look like? There's a lot going on in the market right now. We know that. We're heading into the first week of October. So we have October, November, December, the last quarter of the year. We got to still watch the state of the economy, market, global. Everything kind of rose up. And just by the way, rules of nature, the rules of, just the philosophy of business, there's this and there's this, and just be prepared for the ups and the downs. So if you look in the Chicagoland area, or maybe you've watched this and you're somewhere else, I have a great referral system. So whether you're from, Albuquerque to Austin to, I can't think of any places that start with a Z right now in the States, but someplace, connect with me. But if you're in Chicago, I'd love to meet up with you. We can go over this a little bit more. Every single person has a different plan associated for what they need, what they want. Everybody has different credit scores. Everybody has a different history. Everybody has different income. Everybody has different plans. Everybody needs different things. Whether you are a young couple finding your first place to move into, or you're an established family that has, four kids or something, and you need all the rooms, and you've got, the cars, and you got the stuff, and you need the place for your things. Everybody has a different strategy, and you just have to know where you're at in the market so you can be positioned for success. So reach out, give me a call. Looking forward to working with you. Come to my website, it's danhellweg.com. Super easy. That's DANHELLWEG.com. And yeah, happy, what's today? September 26th. All right. Thanks, guys.